Been a while, Strawboy! Did you miss me, old pal?
Welcome to More Fanime. I'm your fan of More Anime. What's up, everybody? Today, I want to take a deep dive into one of my favorite characters in the One Piece franchise, and that's Bon Kurei, Mr. 2 from Baroque Works. This character surprised the heck out of me. I never thought it would be one of my absolute favorite characters after first meeting Bon Kurei. I mean, he was a fun villain, but I think he evolved even more after his initial debut, because when he first debuts after the Little Garden arc, and he's after Mr. 3 and Miss Goldenweek because they failed to, kill the Straw Hats, even though they had them in their clutches. Mr. 2 seemed kind of evil. I mean, he seemed like a bad dude. And he was a tough SOB. Think about it. Mr. 2 was always very dominant, if you think. I mean, he never needed a partner like the rest of Baroque Works. Even Crocodile had Miss All Sunday. Mr. 3 had Miss Goldenweek. Mr. 5 had Miss Valentine. Mr. 4 had Miss Merry Christmas. But Bon Kurei, this guy, didn't need that shiz. He had everything he could possibly ask for. Bon Kurei. Mr. 2 was a hell of a challenge for Mr. Prince, or Sanji, if you guys remember that little plot line. When they went toe-to-toe, one of Sanji's best fights, in my opinion. I mean, it's one of the fights that I go back when I want to see Sanji in a fun battle of a kicking prowess. Because it was a kicking battle, but also it had its goofy moments. Because, of course, Bon Kurei's ability of being able to change his appearance, and I believe it's his entire body as shown in the anime and in the manga, I believe, when he transformed into Nami. So that's a damn good ability. I think the ability was also shown in a flashback during Odin's time with the creepy old lady could transform. So technically, Bon Kurei probably got his power after she passed. But, I would like to know more about Bon Kurei. And very, very surprised we never got a full-on backstory for the fella back at Impel Down, especially after his sacrifice. I mean, this guy, Bon Kurei, he sacrificed himself for the Straw Hat crew, well, at least for Luffy, twice. And he still survived both times. Once, he gave himself up to the Marines. And I was like, what is this guy doing? He doesn't owe them that much. But he was just, going to help his friends. And then back at Impel Down, Bon Kurei was the best teammate that Luffy could ever ask for. This guy, if it wasn't for Bon Kurei, Luffy would have died in Impel Down. He wouldn't have made it back. He would have lost his life early on in the series. We owe Bon Kurei our thanks. Otherwise, the One Piece would have ended before Marineford. I mean, Bon Kurei really earned his spot as a possible future Straw Hat crew member if we can ever get out of Impel Down, level 5.5 or some shiz, or right somewhere between level 5 and 6. There's that, the Newkama fun place that Ivankov put together. But now Bon Kurei is in charge of that little spot inside Impel Down. I mean, I have a little bit of prediction that whatever happens with Doflamingo, who's also trapped in Impel Down, it will also include getting our boy Bon Kurei out of there. Get Bon Kurei out of Impel Down. He has served his sentence. It's time to move on. It's time. Even if he just escapes on his own, I'm fine with that as well. Mr. 2 deserves another shining moment in the series. He's had 2 of them, if not more. I mean, his whole portion of the Baroque Works arc during Arabasta. He was killing it, going toe-to-toe with Sanji, as mentioned, transforming into Vivi's father to make him look like a terrible king. What a slick move. Probably an idea by Crocodile, but still, I mean, Bon Kurei was easily just as needed for the plan to work out, even though it didn't work out at Arabasta, as Mr. One. You know, Mr. One, who's a badass, I agree, but that's pretty much all he's got. He's a badass, and he does the motherfucking job. He's the muscle. And not only is Bon Kurei skilled in physical combat, but he's also so useful with that face change technique as part of a crew. I mean, if you think about it, the Baroque Works top 5 or so, or the main core Baroque Works members, they were one of the best villain groups in all of One Piece. You've got Crocodile, one of the best villains in the entire series, who is still included in the story today with his, cross-skilled. Then you've got Mr. One, who had one of the best fights with Zoro, who's had a million amazing fights, and somehow he was able to bust out a classic with him. I mean, he's the first person to help Zoro cut steel. You got these two leading the gang, and you got Miss All Sunday, Nico Robin. I mean, these characters just go on and on and on. Mr. 3 showed how awesome he is at Impel Down when he blocked Magellan, and then later when he saved Luffy and Ace at the end of Marineford when they were trying to unlock the handcuffs, and he came up with the wax key. This dude came in clutch for Luffy to, at least get somewhat, he broke Ace out. He just didn't survive. Spoilers. But Mr. 3, he became more than I thought he would as well during that arc. Kind of the same as Bon Kurei, but not really. Bon Kurei did more. Then you have, Miss Valentine, one of my favorite villains early on in the series. I love her design. I love the way that she uses the kilo fruit as her ability. Just wouldn't expect that. And the little umbrella. I just love the whole aesthetic with Miss Valentine. Mr. 5 with his booger bombs. He's basically Gambit from X-Men, and he had a sick design as well. I almost wish those two replaced Mr. 4 and Miss All Christmas at the final fight at Arabasta, because I just think that they had a better design than Mr. 4 and Miss Merry Christmas. They were kind of annoying. I mean, it was fun to see Usopp and Chopper team up against them, but I think I would have had more fun seeing Usopp and Chopper team up against Mr. 5 and Miss Valentine. But you got Mr. 2 as my personal favorite member of Baroque Works, if you don't count Nico Robin, because she's my favorite female in the entire series, and probably entirety of anime. But Bon Kurei is high up there for me. High up there. He is my first pick to join the Straw Hat crew in the end game. I don't want him to be part of the Straw Hat fleet. He's already earned that title. But I think he needs to officially join the Straw Hat crew. We get to see Bon Kurei's sad backstory of how, he ended up in a life of crime, even though he's just a great person. Mr. 2 has earned our respect. He definitely got mine. I mean, what are your guys' favorite Mr. 2 moments? I mean, it could be during Impel Down, probably when he made the ultimate sacrifice against Magellan, and we all thought, well, he's dead. He's got to be dead. He's going to get poisoned to death here. I mean, Magellan was willing to do that basically to Luffy. I can't imagine he's not going to be willing to give the death sentence to Bon Kurei, but someone must have interfered in that battle, because we do later find out in the manga that Bon Kurei survived. And that was, for me, as a fan of ultimate sacrifices, there was a part of me that was like, no, that was the perfect death. And it really was. It would have been a hell of a death for that guy to go out that way, poisoned, sacrificial, getting Luffy to his brother, doing everything he could. It's just like, yeah, that was awesome. But, you know, finding out that Bon Kurei was still with us, it gave me a little bit of hope. It made me think, one day Bon Kurei is going to escape Impel Down, join the Straw Hat crew for the final fight. I mean, we're getting closer and closer to the end, though. So that does, you know, I'm losing hope in that. So, you know, we went 3 years, maybe 4 years max. Bon Kurei better get the heck into the story immediately. Maybe sometime around after Egghead Island. Really not sure. If not, I'm very happy with the idea of Vivi becoming an official member before the story's over. Bon Kurei, though. Bon Kurei has one of the most unique styles of fighting in the series. Was it Kempo? Kama Kempo, whatever. Kicking ballerina fighting style, transforming, all the fun stuff you can expect from an amazing character. I mean, Bon Kurei making it all the way through Impel Down and just to go, nope, no, I'm going to make sure Straw Boy gets out of here. That's something we're always going to remember as fans. We're always going to remember Bon Kurei for that moment. Even if Bon Kurei remains in Impel Down. Maybe he found just the new calling of leading the people into hope inside that prison. Maybe that's what Bon Kurei wants, to stay there and just live out the rest of his days, you know, protecting the weak, like only Bon Kurei can do. But I do hope that there's some hope, you know, that he wants to escape, wants to join back with their friends, the Straw Hat crew, Chopper, Luffy, Usopp. They bonded when Bon Kurei first debuted in the series and they accidentally saved him. Like, bonded with Bon Kurei, and I think that bond can't be severed, even by death. And I was willing to write Bon Kurei off like, well, we'll always remember him. But no, he's alive for a reason. Oda doesn't just keep characters alive just to be like, oh, guess what? They're alive. We're never going to see them again. No. Oda has a plan, a master plan. Oda is the man with the master plan is what I'm trying to say. Oda wants Mr. 2 back in the story. Maybe joining the Cross Guild is another possibility for Bon Kurei. I mean, that's where some of Baroque Works already is. Mr. 3, Crocodile, they're there. Mr. 1 is there. What am I thinking? So there's 3 major players from Baroque Works right there. Maybe something to that effect. Maybe Crocodile and the Cross Guild. We don't know what they're up to. We don't. And we're not 100% sure how Doflamingo's ever going to escape. And I feel like that will happen for sure. Doflamingo's too important of a character. And I think Bon Kurei's just as important. So you get someone like Crocodile, who is trying to build the ultimate, Yonko crew. He's got the figurehead that is Buggy, but really Crocodile's coming up with the plans. Crocodile needs a strong Yonko crew to actually fight if they get, into some shiz. And you know where you go collect some of the most badass types of characters that have been captured by the Marines? That's Impel Down. Maybe Croc or a small faction from the Cross Guild. I mean, think about it. He's got Mihawk on the crew. There's no way they couldn't just completely obliterate Impel Down. Cherry pick some of the best they've got, including characters that we might not expect. Mr. Senior Pink could be in there. I could see Senior Pink getting recruited. I could see Bon Kurei being found accidentally. Crocodile would know, actually. Crocodile would know that Bon Kurei stayed behind and sacrificed himself. Maybe even Crocodile recognizes game and was like, Mr. 2, or Mr. 1, Mr. 3. Mr. 2 is just sitting in Impel Down. I, as a man, cannot allow this. He sacrificed himself for me and Jinbei and Luffy and the whole Prison Break gang. I was in there too, and it sucked. It sucked. We're going to go there, and we're going to break out Bon Kurei. our friend, our family. Maybe something like that's going to happen. Maybe Crocodile really learned to respect Bon Kurei. And, you know, even Mr. 3 is going to be like, I'll help you. We will save him. They go to Impel Down and they bust out a few villains that we've met, maybe some lower class villains that we've met during the past that we just haven't seen in a while. Even like a Kuro, the dude with the sword fingers from way back at Syrup Village, or even Don Krieg. Just some foot soldiers that we recognize that he can use to build his true Yonko crew. Because right now, I would say that Buggy's crew is the weakest Yonko crew right now. They do have Crocodile and Mihawk, but the other crews have an army of certified badasses. Yes, we do have Mr. 1. What am I saying? And I'm sure Mr. 1 now has armament hockey. But it's time. We got to get Bon Kurei. That's my choice. If Bon Kurei can't be part of the Straw Hat crew, if that slot is already, you know, slated for Vivi, I'm fine with that. As long as Bon Kurei gets back in the story, because he's one of my faves. One of my top diggity dogs. And I need this guy back on the field, back on the chessboard. And he would be a perfect member for the Cross Guild because of the already abundant members of the Baroque Works there. Then you have them also maybe break out Doflamingo, or Doflamingo, who I can't imagine, even though the Cross Guild is built to have a bunch of, you know, what are they called? Warlords of the Sea to be a part of it. I could see Doflamingo being, not me. And I don't think Crocodile and Doflamingo get along as seen at Marineford. So Croc might break out Bon Kurei and then realize Doflamingo is the only one at the bottom level. And be like, no, not that one. We're going to leave that one. Kind of like Bullet in a Stampede when Blackbeard was like, not taking that one. Too dangerous. Same thing goes for Doflamingo. But Bon Kurei, you're coming with the family. Get into the Cross Guild. And guess what? You can still be Mr. 2. You know, for old time's sake. And then we got Bon Kurei back in the story. He doesn't have to fill a slot with the Straw Hat crew, even though I would love that. I think that he's earned it time and time again. Once at Arabasta and once at Impel Down. Earned it, for sure. I think at some point, I really do, no jokes aside, well, jokes aside, I do think that we will see Bon Kurei back into the story, even if it is just as part of the Straw Hat fleet. Maybe leading an army. Maybe he got his own crew. He built his own crew within Impel Down, inspiring the masses that have been collected over the last couple of years since Blackbeard, you know, took everybody, the ones he wanted out at least. Maybe Bon Kurei leads an army of his own crew. Bon Kurei's crew, the Clay crew. I mean, he once had a crew of sorts working with Baroque Works, so he is a born leader. He can do it. I believe Bon Kurei could come into the story and just do his own thing, you know, just lead an army, just officially joining the Straw Hat fleet, kind of like Bartolomeo, where it's like, you're not actually a Straw Hat, you know, proper, but you can be part of our fleet and help us in the final battle against either the world government or Blackbeard. That's the kind of shiz I want to see. That's the kind of shiz that'll make me happy. Listen to me, Oda. Get Bon Kurei back into the story. Please, that is my only wish as a fan. A lifetime fan now. I will never stop reading the One Piece. But you can really put a cherry on top of this amazing sundae by bringing in Mr. 2 to be part of the final arc, the final saga, at least a couple arcs at the final end. Just give me Bon Kurei. Or let Bon Kurei come back and actually sacrifice himself. Third time's the charm. It comes in clutch, saves Luffy one last time. You know, just finish him off. It'd be a hell of a way, and unexpected. I wouldn't expect Oda to do it a third time and actually commit to it at that point. But I could expect Bon Kurei to come back and do the sacrifice again. He's already proven he can do that, and he's willing to. He's kind of a sacrificial character. But I'm happy to know that he's happily alive in the story. This is More Fanime. What do you guys think of Bon Kurei? Who's your favorite member of Baroque Works? Like I said, mine is Nico Robin. But after that, Crocodile. After that, though, Bon Kurei. And then after that, probably Mr. One. And then Miss Valentine. Comment down below, like this video, subscribe to more Fanime. I'll talk to you later.
Oh, stop pulling my tail! You know swans never die!